of serious misconduct, and the process has started. According to you, the city manager supported it at the beginning, and indeed, that's the evidence of Mr. Ngiza and Chief Mapiyeye, that before any steps were taken against Brigadier Mkhwanazi, they went to speak to the city manager, and when they were asked the question, both witnesses, when they were asked, why did you do that? They said, we did that because we know that they're close, they have a close relationship, and we didn't want to get into trouble about it. We wanted to inform her in advance, and she was supportive of whatever action we are going to take. So we know that, and you've just confirmed she knew from the get-go. Disciplinary, certain steps are taken against this one employee. Why do you now, when you are asked by Mr. Erasmus to guide him about an extension, you now go and speak to the city manager? Why in that speaking to the city manager do you now start saying, what about the others? As if it has any consequence whatsoever for disciplinary steps being taken against the individual.
It had no consequence, and I didn't raise that with the city manager. The issue was raised with Erasmus in our conversation. Which are the other witnesses that are outstanding? Because the evidence is pointing, to say that CAT VIP and all were in the city. And I'm taking it back to the issue of the State of the City Address. Who was involved in the State of the City Address? It was also Mkhwanazi that was involved in the State of the City Address. And that is why I'm saying it is a very serious issue, but you're focusing on a donation issue? Yes, by all means. You're focusing on the MOU issue? By all means. But then what is the process that was followed from the State of the City Address? Who are all the people who should be informed? That was never discussed with the city manager. The city manager gave an update as to accordingly, Mgwabe, we need to sort this matter out, we need to finalize this. So we concretize our case against Mkhwanazi. If it came up later on, there were other officials involved from the further investigation, then so be it. It could have taken place. I didn't give a comment or a memorandum to the city manager in that regard.
Okay. So you when you spoke to the city manager, you told her that the case against Mr. Mkhwanazi is not good. You would have said that because that's what you advised Mr. Erasmus.
Yeah. I said there was concerns that I had on these issues, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Mr. Behari, I think we can probably move on to your evidence earlier on when you were leading your own evidence. You had said that after the 22nd of June 2023, when you engaged with Chief Mapiyeye, you didn't have any further involvement in this matter until 2025, with the exception of the IPID issue. Is that correct?
No, IPID issue happened in 2023 in November. I think it was a November period.
It was September, yes. That's when yes. But other than that aspect, you had no involvement in Commissioner Mkhwanazi's disciplinary issue for 2 years until 2025?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we know that in May, the suspension is then not extended, and Commissioner Mkhwanazi comes back to work. And what happens to the disciplinary process?
Sure, I didn't, because it was gone into the HR space. I didn't go back further and look at it. Erasmus didn't come back to me. Chief of Police, I think on the 22nd, sent me a letter. 22nd of June, 2023.
21st of June, yes.
Yeah, I did it 21st, but I served in my office on the 22nd.
Yes. That was following the discussion you had with him on that same day.
Yes.
Okay. Right. I'm speaking about, so after June,
I had no engagements on that until the IPID document came through.
Okay. Now, your evidence was that on the 22nd of August 2023, the city manager issues this directive, which has this legal review, extra step, legal review assessment that's done by your team. And that's in August 2023. In May 2023, you had given Lieutenant Colonel, what is his name? Erasmus, your views on the matter. You're now in charge. In August 2023, there's a directive by the city manager that you must do a review. Why is it that you don't go back to that matter and say, what's happened here? We now have somebody who's facing serious allegations back at work, and I haven't heard back from anyone after I told them that they must look into these deficiencies.
Chair, once I deal with, in my environment, dealing with all the departments, from a day-to-day, I don't have the luxury to go back. So if it has happened that way, the direct further processes will be through the HR process. If it came back to me for some other reasons, for some other compliance, I would have dealt with it. The matter never came back to me. So it's very difficult to follow up on cases when I've given an opinion, and that happens with all the other departments. If I'm seeking a given opinion or discussion and say what can be done, I would think that you would either implement what I'm saying. If you decide not to proceed, then it's of course entirely up to that. But I don't follow up on these matters in all the departments I'm dealing with. Because if I have a discussion with you, I'll say to you, this is what I think we should happen, and thereafter it closes from there. If it comes back to me in another system where you say, I've addressed these issues, let's take it further, I would have taken it further.
But this is such a serious matter that you felt the need to volunteer the continuation of these disciplinary proceedings on charges which you both consider to be serious charges and somebody that is back in employment with the city.
Chair, it was not only that he was back in employment, I understood that he was also applied for a position and was given a higher position. So it's not only in this matter. It's looked at that I'm dealing, but I don't have the luxury of that. I've got other departments, same thing. I will give city manager a briefing if I've met with the environmental department. If there's something, I'll give her a briefing and say, this is what it is, this is what I've recommended, and we'll wait for it to come back. But I don't go back and follow up, because then it becomes an HR process specifically until it comes back to me by some query or another.
I think people call what you're doing right now otherism. We're not talking about other matters. We're talking about this specific matter which deals with Brigadier Mkwanazi. You know that he is back at work. You've raised concerns with Lieutenant Colonel Erasmus about this investigation and about the disciplinary proceedings. You've reported to the city manager about this. On your own version, you say the city manager considered this to be such a serious matter. I'm struggling to understand what is the benefit of this 22 August 2023 legal review assessment, this extra step that is supposed to be more efficient, make disciplinary processes more efficient, when one of your biggest matters are slipping through your fingers and the person is at work. You're not doing anything about it, and you knew about it even before this directive came into effect.
Chair, the issue of otherism is trying to show in terms of my responsibilities in the city. I've done that. Neither did Lieutenant Colonel Erasmus nor the Chief of Police come back and say, Kemi, we've addressed this issue, can we proceed further? Thereafter, I don't get involved with the HR process. So, to what extent do I have to go into every matter where another HOD is being fully briefed of what is required, doesn't do anything further, and the matter doesn't come back to me? It moves on. When you talk about otherism, I'm trying to give you the reality of the environment that I'm in. Thank you.
But you did get involved in this matter, even after that. You did get involved.
Are you talking about the iPad?
No. The email, the anonymous email. It raised the very same issues, and it caused you to cause a forensic investigation. So you got involved with the Mkwanazi matter. You did.
I was involved in the Mkwanazi to the extent that I've described here.
And that email was specific. That email said you and Dr. Mashazi and Mr. Sheka covered up for Mkwanazi. So that email was very clear. In case you had forgotten about the Mkwanazi matter, that should have jogged your memory. Instead, you go after the people who wrote the email. You don't deal with what happened to Mkwanazi. These were such serious allegations. Prima facie on the documents, he was guilty of misconduct. 2 instances of misrepresentation. According to you, unprompted, unlawful behavior.
Chair, the Makonazi matters with regard to the investigation, we completed on the 22nd of June 2023. Thereafter, an email came through, the BX email, which made the allegations of cover-ups, which gave information on that. It released information on other aspects, which I believe that to escalate it against, in fact, it was received by all the addresses there. I think it included, I'm not sure if it included the city manager, but I believe it did. And when it was raised to me, but as Deputy Information Officer, what are we doing about this? I told city manager, I think we should get hold of internal audit and let them take the process further. The internal audit chief audit executive at that stage then proceeded further to instruct one of the internal auditors, and they proceeded to do the investigation.
It's wrong, Mr. Mashazi, to create the impression that after June, sorry, Mr. Behari.
Did you say Mr. or Mrs.?
You didn't hear, that's good. That's good, you didn't hear. That's good, you didn't hear. I was simply saying it is wrong of you to say after the June meeting, you never got involved until the IPID or in 2025.
No, Chair, the BX came in, but not to the extent of engaging with the matter. The BX, when I say I didn't get involved
I think they are
again,
coming to that later on. Maybe let's just pack it there to say it is wrong that you never got involved in anything related to the charges against Mukwanas. Maybe it was for different reasons, but...
Yeah, it's not dealing with what I've dealt with Erasmus and so on. It was a separate process thereafter.
Well, you've said that the chief also didn't do anything. That's not correct, though, because in his letter that he sends to you on the 21st of June, he's reminding you that charges need to be filed as soon as possible by the 22nd. Is that not correct? Do you want me to take you to it?
No, I've got the document.
It is in JM, the Mapiyeye's statement, and it is...
Yeah, Chair, I've got the document. Chief writes to me...
Just give us the page number again.
Oh, no, I thought you had the... I'm referring to my copy on that document there.
I'll get the page number.
But do you have that? Can you refer that?
Is it JM 32?
That's correct. Thank you.
182, Mapiyeye, annexures.
I have that document, Chair.
Yes. So this is the letter that you were referring to earlier on, that you had received on the 22nd of June, even though it's dated the 21st.
Yes, sir.
And if we look at, I think it is at the second page, the second paragraphs are undated. This indicated period of 3 months must be before the 12th of July 2023. Taking into consideration the charge sheets needs to be served as per. And then he says section 7.8, the employer representative shall within 5 days of his appointment formulate and serve the charges to be brought against the employee. So he's setting out for you the steps that must be followed. And then he says the delay is of great concern as the alleged misconduct was exposed by the media. A very senior officer is involved and is of such a serious nature that it will permanently damage not only the reputation of the EMPD but also of the city of Ekurhuleni should the postponement of serving the charge sheet be furthermore postponed. A perception is also created that the officer involved and the very serious misconduct exposed are being protected and swept under the carpet. Your considered noting urgent attention and way forward is appreciated. What did you do about this letter?
Chair, on the 21st, I had approximately 1 hour engagement with the chief. And we got all the information where I explained to him, Chief, firstly, on paragraph 3, Chief, 24th of May 2023 is when it expired. The suspension would have expired. But give me the timelines, because what happened is if you want me to deal with the issue, I've told you what are the problems that I think, and I think this is how it could also expose in terms of you getting involved in different areas. The MOU came to your attention. I heard later on he denied it, but the MOU came to your attention. There's no explanation what happened. Other issues of the State of the City address, you noticed that there was other companies or other employees from other companies there.
Mr. Behari, you're doing it again, and I don't mean to interrupt you. You can explain yourself afterwards. I just want to know what was your response to this letter, because you're telling me about your discussion before the letter comes. So if you look at the first paragraph of the letter, on page 182, it says, further to our discussion regarding the above matter. So this is after you had told him all of what you're telling us now. He sends you the letter because he says, as discussed earlier today and agreed upon, that I shall provide you with a copy of the internal dossier listing all the documentary evidence whereupon the decision to proceed with the disciplinary matter has been based, and that you will peruse this during the 22nd of June 2023 and provide a way forward urgently as per the background listed here under. So what was your response to this letter?
I did not respond to the letter because the dossier did not come to me. The documents, he says here, on the 21st, which is served to me, I shall provide you with the dossier of the documents. So he didn't send me all those documents. There was other explanations which you have fully in the meeting which we discussed, the timelines that were followed and so on. So I did not respond further because I've explained to the chief what needs to be done and how we can address the matter. There was no need for me to go further to tell him again, to respond to another email, a letter to him to say how it can be. All the things the chief has said to me here was contained in the discussion on the 21st as well.
Mr. Behari, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to convince 4 lawyers that you as a lawyer didn't respond to this when you didn't receive the documents. So you don't get the documents back from him and you're not requesting it.
I did not get the documents from chief. He needed me to respond under very strict timelines. I had to give him a response by taking into consideration the above stipulation. It means that the charge sheet must be served on or before 22nd of June 2023. So a document is served before me. I had not got the documents.
No. Mr. Behari, in his the second paragraph, after he says further to our discussion, he says, and that you will peruse this during the 22nd. It was an agreement and agreed upon that I shall provide you with the copy and you will peruse during the 22nd of June 2023. So you knew about the tight timeline. And you don't get the documents from him on the 22nd, but you don't follow up with him and say, there were no documents attached to your letter, or when am I getting the documents? You want an answer as soon as possible, but I don't have the documents.
Chair, what was conveyed to me at that stage was that the appointment of the presiding officer mid-June, in our letter engagement, he wanted me to, I said to him, I'll look at the documents urgently. The documents never came to me. The issue of taking into consideration of the above stipulation means the charge sheet must be served on or before the 22nd. That was never discussed. So you're asking me to assist you, and I'll look over it on the 22nd. But you did not say to me that we have to finalize this by the 22nd of June. And that is where, as I said, I spoke to the chief. So if the chief did not take it up further and bring it to my attention and say, let's go ahead, you serve a document to me on the 22nd of, so the letter dated, you serve it to me on the 22nd of June. And then you say to me, it has to be done, the charge sheet must be served on or before the 22nd of June. What can I do as a head of legal in terms of serving the charge sheet or not serving the charge sheet?
But then, Mr. Behari, you say to him, I haven't had time to have a look at the documentation. What is it that you want to do, Chief? And then you have a discussion. You don't ignore him. He's telling you that this is an urgent matter that needs to be attended to. There's been a delay which is recorded here, which is clearly not of his doing, because he's complaining about the delay. He says, I have a concern about the delay. And you're delaying him further, and I find it hard to believe that a lawyer of your many years of experience, 28 years as you say, when you don't receive supporting documents, you don't go back to the lay person and say to him, you haven't given me the documents to consider. Bearing in mind, you have considered these documents before. He has nothing new. There's nothing new that he has in these documents that Lieutenant Colonel Erasmus didn't already give to you a month earlier.
Chair, the opening paragraph or the second paragraph, as discussed earlier today, when we had our meeting on the 21st, I shall provide you with a copy of the internal dossier listing all the documentary evidence whereupon the decision to proceed with the disciplinary has been based. That is, what then was met on the 12th of April when Nisa decided to proceed with disciplinary. So there were additional documents that he was supposed to have proceeded. And then he served the document to me on the 22nd of June. Taking into consideration the above stipulation, it means that the charge sheet must be served on or before the 22nd of June. On the 22nd of June, I had no documents. I was not even at work on the 22nd of June. I only came back the following Tuesday. If he had contacted me and said, no, but where are you? We need to do this, I would have followed it. It is a two-way issue. I have all other issues to deal with, other rhythms, you mentioned that. But that is the reality of my environment. Okay? I cannot go, if a chief is committed to give me documents, chief is committed to follow up. So even though he's a lay person in terms of the law itself, I don't know to what he's involved as a lay person, but the commitment which he made to me was to bring the documents. And I cannot go and chase after the chief. He's a senior manager at my level. He's committed to do that issues. He did not do it. I was not there on the 22nd. I left out of the province. I got back on, but he could have still called me and said to me, but can we not finalize this? But if it had to be on the